Today, as promised, I'm going to show you my LARPing sports sword weapons collection that I have. You already saw this sword in my previous episode, long sword. Here I have a giant tower shield. This thing covers your whole torso, part of your lower leg as well. It's a pretty big tower shield, teardrop shield I mean. And shields come in useful, especially if you're up against an archer. If you're up against an archer without a shield, then you're in pretty bad shape. Which, here we have a short bow, and this here is a larping arrow. You can see the tip there is padded, so you can get shot with it and it not hurt too much. And if someone's shooting you with an arrow and you ain't got a shield, then good luck, especially if you're trying to fight someone else who's distracting you while an archer's shooting at you. You're pretty much toast without a shield. Next up here we have this called the shield cleaver. And if you have a smaller shield and someone comes and just whams down on you with this giant halberd, then this actually has the capability of blasting the shield away and still hitting you with it, because this is so big and fairly heavy. And if I were to hit someone with this, even though it's padded, with all my might, it would hurt a good bit and possibly do some damage. So the thing with LARPing in that is it is still slightly dangerous. You have to use common sense when you're LARPing. You can't go all out and just totally smash somebody with one of these weapons, or you might end up hurting them. Good example with that is this here mace. This thing, even though it is padded, it still packs a good punch if you hit someone full force with it. I did accidentally end up breaking my brother's thumb once in a LARPing battle with this thing when I hit him really hard with it and accidentally broke his thumb. So these weapons, they do have a potential to hurt someone if you don't use common sense, if you hit them too hard with them. And LARPing, we do it for fun. It's also good for exercise and also for being better at close quarter combat. I showed you my tower shield. Here's a shield that we actually made. You can see on either side here it has this little groove in it. And the reason for those being, this is actually a replica of a Persian immortal shield. And they had that groove in it because they would make a shield wall that they would hide behind for their front lines, and their shields would connect to each other, but they would still have that hole right there that they would stick their spears out. So they'd have this shield wall in front of them with all these spears sticking out in front of them that whoever was charging them had to get past in order to get to the main line of their enemies standing behind that shield wall. Here's another weapon that I made for a sports sword. It's just made with pipe insulation, a plastic PVC pipe core, and duct tape and glue to hold it together. With making sports sword weapons, especially if you don't know what you're doing, they can hurt somebody, especially whenever you don't know what you're doing. You're first getting started. Whenever I first got started making my own LARPing weapons, a few of them did dysfunction and break. One of them ended up cutting my brother's head open because it didn't work. Finally got it down to a science, and I'm able to make safe LARPing weapons that I can use for LARP. This one here has a point, so I can stab with this axe, or I can use it as a throwing weapon. here is another weapon I made, one of the first weapons I made. This thing has been through thousands of battles. It's a great throwing dagger. I've gotten many a kill with this dagger. Very useful for right before you come at the enemy, you're charging them, you throw this dagger at them so they raise their shield, they're distracted for a moment, and then while they're distracted trying to block this dagger, you finish them off with your sword. Here's a small buckler that we also made. If you want a shield but you don't want to be carrying around a big heavy one around all day, but you still want something for a bit of protection against enemy swords, or a little bit of protection against arrows, and if you have this, you can carry this around all day and it's not going to exhaust you at all. Here we have a sport sword claymore, and this thing is huge. It's like 4 feet long, pretty big sword. It's not really that heavy with the sport sword weapons, as opposed to the ones that I got from forged foam. The sport sword weapons don't hurt nearly as much when you get hit, because you see they're very bendy and have a lot of give. Whereas, say this axe, this is from forged foam, and it has no give whatsoever. It has a padded axe head, but if you hit someone with this full force as hard as you can, it's still going to hurt and possibly injure whoever you're hitting with it. Here is another weapon I made. This is called a flail. Not a morning star, a flail. A flail is slightly bigger than a morning star. It would have been a lot heavier for during like the Middle Ages, and flails were used against someone with a shield. So if I had this shield, if someone were to have a sword like this and try and hit me with it, I can block with the shield easily enough. But if someone has this flail, if they hit here on my shield with this here, the ball, which back then would have normally been like a giant piece of metal, would have still continued to go around the shield and hit me. And these were fairly heavy pieces of steel. It would have hurt a good bit and done damage even if you had armor on. The thing with a flail is they normally had to be used with 2 hands because they were so heavy. So ideally someone using a flail might have a smaller shield like this, so they could still have a shield to block with and use this flail against someone who has a shield to have a better chance at hitting them and getting around their shield and defeating their opponent. This one here is actually a Nerf weapon. It's a mace axe. It's got the mace head, but it also has 3 axe blades on either side. This one surprisingly isn't made as much for hitting people with and full contact as the other ones, but if you hit someone full force with this, it's actually going to do less damage than if you were to hit someone full force with, say, this here axe made by forged foam. Another one I have from Nerf is this here double-sided battle axe. Something you see like the dwarves using, or maybe in the Hobbit. Neat little weapon. This thing, like I said with that other one, if you get hit with this one real hard, it ain't gonna hurt too much. Like these ones by Sport Sword, you can basically lay out on someone as hard as you want, and it's not really gonna do any real damage to them. I mean, if they're a wimp and you hit them full force, they might still cry that it hurts, but it's not gonna do any serious damage to them at all. And lastly, here I have this here little teardrop fantasy shield that we built. See the back here, we just use dog collars with an adjustable strap for the handles. And that's it. That's my entire LARPing collection of weapons that I have. I do have a few duplicates of, like these swords. I have duplicates of this in different colors, like black and blue. My brothers, they also have a bunch of LARPing weapons that they have. So altogether we have more than twice as many as what I showed you, but these are the ones that I personally own and are mine. Now, since I haven't had much time lately to record videos, and I have a lot going on right now, I'm going to be going ahead and ending Season 1 of God, Guns, and Freedom. I'd hoped to record a lot more episodes than this before I ended Season 1, but since I haven't been able to have the time, and it doesn't look like I'm going to have the time in the near future, I'm going to head and end Season 1. I probably will not be uploading any videos until around a month. I'm hoping to start Season 2 up around the 4th of July. And so that being said, until next time, this verse for this episode is found in the book of Romans, chapter 8. It's Romans chapter 8, verses 24 through 28. I'll go ahead and read them to you. And it reads, "For in this hope we were saved, but hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what he already has? But if we hope for what we do not have, we wait for it patiently. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us, with groans and words that cannot express. And he searches our hearts, knows the minds of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints in accordance with God's will. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." So until next time, it says that in that verse, verse 25, that to wait patiently. So until Season 2, go ahead, wait patiently, put your faith and trust in God, and he will see you through whatever trials and tribulations that you may have. So until next time, go ahead, like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, leave a comment below, and until next time, God bless. Thank you for watching this season.